Hey, real estate agents, welcome to the Weekly Closer. I'm your host, Jeff Underwood, along with my co-host, Joey Sampaga. It's the man with the plan. How you doing today, Joey?
I'm doing pretty good, Mr. Jeff Underwood.
Yeah, man. We are the Real Estate Marketing Maniacs.
Oh, yeah.
And, hey, we want to give a big shout out to Security Title Agency as well as Fidelity National Home Warranty.
Yes.
Sponsoring the show. They do awesome work, so show them some love. Also to Jackie Whitney over at Security Title for bringing on the guest today.
Oh, yeah, Jackie.
Absolutely. We've got a great guest in the house with us. That's Jacquelyn Grant, associate broker with Keller Williams Arizona Realty, and also a military relocation professional. How you doing, Jacquelyn?
I'm doing great. You guys need some more coffee this morning, I think.
I have mine right here.
I've only had one cup.
Yeah. So, Jacquelyn, do you go by Jackie or Jacquelyn?
I go by whatever anyone calls me. So
Really?
that can be, yeah, you know, can go a lot of ways. Depends on how well they know me.
All righty.
That's the best way to do it.
That's right.
So, Jacquelyn, why don't we get started with you, sharing with the agents that are watching and listening how long you've been in real estate and what compelled you to get into this industry?
So just over 4 years in real estate. I worked in basically management for 25 years prior to that. And what compelled me is I kind of got tired of corporate. I
hear you.
So,
I think we've all been there.
yeah. So I'm kind of over it. I wanted to have an opportunity to go out and do something on my own. I didn't really at the time know what that looked like. So I have a degree in psychology, and I thought, well, maybe I'll go back to college and get my master's. And I bounced a lot of things around. And quite honestly, real estate landed in my lap completely by accident, and it was a very happy accident. I have my designated broker, Jim Dunning, do a shout out to him because he was an integral part of getting me into real estate. And so I immediately, once I had my license all squared away, I joined up with him right away, and so happy I did it. Best decision ever.
Cool.
Got it. Well, the psychology probably helps with the real estate stuff.
It does.
Yeah.
I'm kind of a marriage counselor.
Oh, boy.
Like, boy, that helped. Who knew?
Yeah.
Yeah,
So
house
let me ask
hunters
you
aren't
then.
lying.
So let me ask you, if it's husband and wife, who has the final say in which house?
Oh, always the wife. Oh my
Yeah.
goodness. Yeah. Sorry, guys.
That's an easy one.
Yeah, that's a dumb question.
That's just the way it is. Yeah.
Fine. We can edit that one out, Joey. Come on. I figured I knew the answer. I just
Yeah.
You just want to
Maybe.
confirm.
You knew.
Yeah. Maybe a professional, maybe she has a different take on it than I
Yeah,
do.
there you go.
Nope.
So
That's just how it is.
So what have you been, obviously we've all we're kind of coming out of this whole lockdown period, can't go here, can't go, the restaurants have started to open back up and things like that. But what have you been doing in your business during the last few months to really stay focused and stay successful?
I really honestly didn't change a whole lot other than kind of the face-to-face meetings. I'm really big on my sphere and my database. So those are, and social media, those are probably the primary ways that I've connected with people, been able to grow my business. Most of my business is either from my sphere and my database, past clients, or referrals. I think the one thing that did change for the short-term period was my open houses that I do hold often, and usually every week, if not a few times a week. So we kind of got closed down on those a little bit. Started going over to the virtual open houses, which I can't speak for other agents, but weren't tremendously successful for me. So just hunkered down a little bit more, I guess, and stayed focused on making sure that I was reaching out to people. How are you doing? Everybody healthy? Do you need anything? Can I go to the grocery store? Just things like that. And trying to take real estate off of the table for a while, because people were, in that kind of month, I guess, period where it was pretty bad, that wasn't something people were thinking about.
Yeah,
So,
absolutely.
Yeah. So you mentioned that you have worked a lot with a specific niche of professionals,
mhm.
and that's with military, right? Military, first responders, teachers, healthcare workers.
Yeah.
How did you step into that, or how did you decide that that was one of the niches you definitely wanted to work with?
Well, for a few years, I was an affiliate partner with Homes for Heroes, which is a phenomenal organization, and I'm so honored that I had an opportunity to be with them. But when I was introduced to that program, it was really kind of a no-brainer to get on board with that because I come from a military family, for one. My father was Air Force. My stepfather-in-law was an Air Force colonel, retired, and my father-in-law's retired Navy. My 16-year-old son wants to go to Air Force Academy, so he's actually coming up on being a first lieutenant in the Civil Air Patrol. My father, after he retired from the military, became a teacher for the public school system. So he taught for 44 years. And then my mom was a nurse for numerous years, a portion of the time at the hospital. And then as she got a little bit older, she became a school nurse. So I had already had such a lifetime experience with all of these groups and what they did to give back to not only our families, but our communities and our nation, that it was a really easy decision. And so I decided early on in my business, said, okay, so I want to find a way somehow, whatever that looks like, to be able to give back to these individuals. And Homes for Heroes was a really great opportunity and introduction for me to do that. And then I did step away from them not too terribly long ago because I realized, you know what, this is something that I have an opportunity to give back to, and I just lost my light. And I don't necessarily have to pay an organization to do that. So I was able to kind of stop that, branch out on my own, and still be able to serve the same communities. It just looks a little bit different.
Yeah. So what do you do? What are you doing now, I guess, to stay in front of those professionals or to make it known that you have this expertise, right, of working with people in those different career paths?
Lots of social media.
Okay.
I do. I do a lot of social media. I do a lot with, I do a monthly newsletter basically that I send out to my sphere and I let them know. I still, again, make the phone calls, let them know what I'm up to, give them market updates if they ask. You know, I don't start the conversation that way, but it usually comes around to that conversation of, you know, what's the market doing? How's my house look? So talking and calling to a lot of my military connections and just letting them know, okay, this is what I'm doing now. I just received my MRP. What do you need?
Got it. So what's your favorite social media platform?
I lean towards Facebook, but I'm getting better at Instagram. You know, I didn't grow up with these things, you know. I had the phone with the big dial thing that, you know, one.
Oh yeah, I remember those.
So,
Had a cord on it.
It had a cord attached to it. Yeah, there was no privacy. If you wanted a phone call, you were in the family room.
Right.
Yeah, the cordless phone was a big deal.
It was.
So I'm over the last few years had some great opportunities with training and your classes. Quite frankly, I've sat in before. Well, yeah, those have been great. And so just taking any opportunity that I can to learn more about the social media. I really don't use Twitter. I might occasionally throw something out there, a little bit on LinkedIn, but
so I'm curious, what type of social media posts do you put up?
I like to find the funny ones.
Oh, yeah. Okay.
Something that's just kind of quirky and silly, keeps
Hmm.
you in front of people
Yeah.
and keeps you top of mind.
Sure.
And
Sure.
it doesn't even necessarily have to be real estate related.
Okay.
I do throw those out occasionally,
Hmm.
but always goes back to that 80-20 rule.
Yeah, that's right.
Try to make it 80% fun.
Hmm.
Let them know who you are. Because if they don't know you,
Yeah,
they're really
exactly.
not going to care. But if you give them something to laugh about, then,
It'll be enjoyable.
then all of a sudden they're like, oh, who's that person? And how do I,
Exactly. So
yeah.
you mentioned your father was in the military. What
Mhm.
branch was he in? Air
Air
Force?
Force.
Okay. Okay.
Air Force.
Yeah. So you're a
Yeah.
military brat. I'm an Army
I,
brat. So
oh, are you?
yes,
Yeah. So
went
he
all
had
over the place.
retired. Sorry, the allergies today, not COVID,
It's
allergies.
okay.
Um, he had retired before I was born.
Okay.
So he was kind of a Korean War
Oh.
person, served over in Turkey. And
Oh,
then by
wow.
the time I was born, he was finishing his degree for his teaching and then went to serve and teach for many, many,
Got it.
many years at the high school level.
Well, that's good.
Yeah. Yeah.
So, Jacquelyn, what are you seeing right now in the marketplace as far as are you seeing more opportunities on your end with your database for listings, or are you seeing a lot of people stepping up to the plate wanting to buy right now?
I have more buyers than listings currently, but that's kind of the way things are going. If you look at our numbers right now, we're still extremely low on our listing numbers. I think the last number I saw with Cromford was we're about 45-ish%. That might be a little generous, below our average number of where we should be.
Wow.
So we're still a really tight seller's market in most areas.
Mhm.
Yeah.
So, it does vary a little bit from city to city, which is, the Cromford Report, if you ever have an opportunity to sit in on some of those meetings, they're phenomenal because it really does give you an update of where things are at. So most of my clients currently are buyers, which makes it hard because
Yeah.
there's no houses to buy.
Here's your
Yeah.
search. There's 5 houses.
Yeah, right? So, yeah. You know what? And sometimes based on their criteria, that's about all they get. I had one, I met a gentleman, nicest guy, at an open house the other day. And so he gave me his criteria and plugging it into MLS. Great, 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 great. And the moment he said with a pool, I went from about 44 options to 1.
Oh,
Yes.
wow.
And I said, well, how do you feel about adding your own pool?
Exactly.
Especially out in Queen Creek. I don't know where you were looking, but I was doing a search the other day in Queen Creek, and as soon as I hit
Chandler
pool,
Gilbert, Queen Creek area that we
went.
were doing our search, and just with kind of what his wants and needs were, I said, okay, we might have to adapt this a little bit, unless this is the house you want, because this is all I've got. So,
Yeah. Here's your 8 houses that are available. No, I said all of Queen Creek. That is all of Queen Creek.
That's it. That's the whole town.
Oh, gosh.
And he had a really broad budget too, which was the crazy part. So
really,
I'm curious. So when you're putting in offers or you're working with buyers, you mentioned before that you have that initial conversation, market very little listings, but are there any tricks that you use to try and get your offers accepted? I mean, what would you tell agents?
Oh, I hate to give away my secrets.
Oh, okay, well, that's true.
Well, and we were talking a little bit before, you got to be ready to move fast.
Yeah,
so
that's really what it is.
I think the key component is communication with your client and setting your expectations very clearly up front.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't know, maybe the best piece of advice I could give is get it in writing so that you can reference it if you need to. Oh, you remember when I told you this?
Mm-hmm.
But communicating with them up front of what to expect so that, if we have to write 2 or 3 offers on 2 or 3 different houses and we don't get accepted, that they're not surprised by that. I've been very fortunate that with that communication and letting them know you need to probably go in strong. We're up against 3 other offers. You know, come in with your how badly do you want it, and I always say to them, how disappointed will you be if you don't get it?
Yeah.
And then I leave it up to them. I never dictate to them, what to offer, what to do, but again, that communication and just setting the expectation, I think, helps.
Well, after the 3rd offer not accepted, they'll be like, okay, let's just put in at least asking price. So
yeah, and it unfortunately for buyers sometimes comes down to that too. And there is, for some, a little bit of a learning curve that they almost have to go through. But most people go, okay, got it. All right, well, and doesn't mean that they'll get it, but it at least means that they felt good about the offer that they made, that they knew that they did everything that they could.
Exactly.
I can hear the conversation, right? So you want to make an offer on this place? You know what? I think nope, it's gone.
Yeah.
Sorry.
I'm telling you what.
Fast, right?
Yeah, and you practically have to, well, you do have to, honestly, call the listing agent ahead of time before you even go see the house. Absolutely. Do you have an offer? Do you know of any coming in? And then after you see it, you have to call them again. Have you gotten any offers?
Yeah. So my last buyer, once we first saw the listing come up, I jumped on showing time right away. Jumped on there. We went over there first thing in the morning, so we're the first ones to see it. And I was communicating with the agent, and I said, okay, listen, guys, you know that there's very little listings, so we either need to do this or this. So we actually made a little bit over what purchase price, what the asking price was. And, after the letter to them, the personal letter, et cetera, all my secrets, right? They accepted it. So it's just like, oh, cool.
Yeah. Those, as a listing agent, I do think those letters can make a difference. It puts
absolutely, and that it actually did make a difference this time. So
yeah, it puts a personal touch on it, so that it's not so, it's just very all paper and business. And when you put a face to a name, I do think that it does touches the sellers. Now, if they're an investor,
yeah, different story.
Not so much.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
All right.
And make it authentic, right? You don't want to just download a letter from Google and change the names.
Oh, yeah. I haven't done that, but I'll have to think about that one. Yeah.
There you go. So you're dealing with a lot, probably military people who are using VA loans.
Yeah.
And so with VA loans, now I haven't dealt with a VA loan in a while, but are there still certain things that the buyers can't pay for that the sellers need to pay for?
You know what? That's changed a lot.
Has it? Okay.
Yeah, because, one of the problems that they were running into with the VA loans is sellers didn't want to take them.
Exactly.
They didn't want to have to deal with the concern of having to pay for A, B, C, D, E. And that was kind of hurting the whole purpose of the active and veteran military being able to utilize their VA loan. Yeah. So they did figure out a lot of that. And so now most of the details are negotiable kind of both ways. There's a couple of things I think still left out there that the sellers have to cover, but it's really been changed. So there are much more seller-friendly options. It's been difficult from the standpoint of if you need a VA construction loan.
Yeah.
I did find one guy, so I'm utilizing him for a deal I've got going currently on some land with a client. But yeah, other than that, I haven't been able to find another lender that's doing the VA construction. So I'm hoping that, again, when things settle down, we start to pull some of these things back in. They got rid of jumbo for a short period of time, so those seem to be settling down and coming back into the game too. So I'm happy about
Fabulous.
that. Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
So now that things are starting to kind of open up a little bit, are you stepping up any marketing efforts or doing anything different after this experience?
Not really. It's been, I really kind of haven't changed things too much, other than maybe I take things less for granted than I did. Just thinking, boy, you know what? Look how fast this happened. And we don't know what's going to happen tomorrow or 6 months now or 12 months from now. So you can't rely just on one source, because what if that source gets taken away from you? So I don't necessarily 100% rely on social media. I don't rely 100% on open houses. We really couldn't do them for a while. I don't 100% rely on only contacting my sphere and my database. And you have to have several different platforms that you go off of in order to be able to keep consistency in your lead gen and business coming in and your pipeline, and what's here today, what's here 3 months from now, 6 months from now, 12 months from now. So I haven't really changed that so much, maybe just kind of increased my time that I spend on it a little bit more.
Did you increase the number of, did you call people more than what you had in the past?
You know what I did? I started calling more often, mostly just to check on everybody and make sure everybody's okay and what do you need. I have a few clients that are a little bit older, and I knew for a while it was really hard for them to get out. The toilet paper shortage, my gosh,
Yeah.
Who would have thought? So I did do a couple of funny little things on some of my listings. I had a rider made. You see every now and again those riders that I think are so funny. It says, "Buy this house, get a pizza."
Yeah.
And I thought those are so funny. It just it cracked me up every time I see it. So I had one made right as we were like right in the crisis part of it with the toilet paper. It says, "Buy this house, get a free pack of toilet paper." And so that really got a lot of response. So that's what I was saying. Funny little things that are stupid, but they're easy. So the hard part was going out and finding toilet paper. I'm selling these houses. I promised these people a package of toilet paper.
No.
So
you must have been running really low on toilet paper in your house.
Calling my neighbors, "Do you have a roll?"
Yeah. I'll give you $100 for it.
A square to spare.
Oh yeah, it would have been really funny during that time when it was really bad and people were looking for toilet paper. Is you had a listing, like every listing photo having a roll of toilet paper somewhere in the photo.
Oh, that! Oh, see! Oh, I should have talked to you 2 months ago. That would have been great.
I saw somebody post one the other day that had it wasn't from here. It was up in like Washington State or something. Yeah. And you're going through the pictures, and all of a sudden there's Bigfoot. Like sitting there reading the paper.
Yeah, I did see those. Those were fantastic. I thought, oh, that listing agent's brilliant.
Those are so funny.
So I did have a listing in Chandler that I didn't see it till after the photos came back, but he took a picture of the laundry room. And in the one corner of the laundry room was this big pack of toilet paper. I thought, oh, I can't post that. They'll get broken into.
Who would have thought?
Right. I don't.
Yeah, that agent would respond on showing time. Not interested. We're there for one reason.
Oh my gosh.
No.
Yeah, too much.
Oh, that's funny.
Too much.
So what, I was going to ask you, so what have you been doing with your time? Do you do a lot more meetings now online?
A lot.
A lot?
Yeah, I do. There's, and it depends a little bit on the client. So that's starting to relax a little bit. People are starting to be willing to go out and meet a little bit more face to face. I am back at my open houses. I'm just respecting people's space. You have to right now.
Mm-hmm.
And you kind of get that mix of you can tell the moment they walk in as to whether they're really timid about being there or whether they're kind of over the whole thing. But just respecting everybody's space and distance. Doing some coffee meetings again, just to be able to see people face to face. A couple of happy hours. We were doing some virtual happy hours, which were really fun. I did one of those with my sphere, and that was a fun group. So we played some games, and that was a way to get connected and stay connected with past clients when we were kind of going through everything. We just did a virtual happy hour on Zoom. But I'm slowly but surely seeing those things start to return. Although I don't know, I keep seeing these numbers jump back up. I thought, oh my gosh, I hope Ducey doesn't shut us down again.
Yeah.
Exactly. I mean, as of this recording, it was, I think they said we jumped over 2,000 from yesterday to today.
Yeah.
So who knows? But I was in an open house this weekend too, and I'm not kidding. There were probably, I would say, at least a dozen people in there. I was the only one with a mask on. Well, my wife and I were the only two with a mask on. Everybody else just walking around, just
so what I've been doing on that is I have been limiting the number that come in at a time. So if I get, depending on the size of the house, so I have a 3,900 square foot basement home in Chandler right now, and so it's a good size, plenty of space, lots of space to move around. But I do limit. At my last open house, I had several groups kind of show up back to back, and so I just asked them, you know what, can you just wait outside for a couple of minutes? And they're fine with it. They get it. They get it. People, for the most part, have been so good and kind and there's a few.
This one with a dozen people in it. It was one of those tiny homes.
Yeah, that's
no,
I'm hard. Just teasing.
That's a joke.
Yeah. Well, you get everybody kind of standing.
That was a joke.
But no, you do. You get those little 1,500 square foot homes, and you get 12 people in it.
No, I meant those little 600.
I know you're talking about the ones on wheels.
Yes.
I did a post that said something along that line, that COVID is going to be the one thing that comes across and eliminates the tiny house movement. People are tired of being stuck in the same space.
Sure. That's probably getting rid of the urban movement. That's for sure.
Unless they're just going to move it out further into the woods, right? Maybe that's what they want.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Oh my gosh.
Anything else you want to share before we get into the ring?
No, I just appreciate the opportunity to come on and have some fun with you guys.
Absolutely.
I love teaching and training. That's a big thing to me. It's always a matter of continue to learn. Real estate is a living, breathing thing. It's constantly moving. It's constantly changing. You need to know the market. You need to be on top of it. You need to get out there and even above and beyond your CEs, just do things to learn, best serve your clients, do what's right by them, and they'll do right by you every time.
Got it. Awesome. No, that's awesome. All right. You ready to get in the ring?
I'm ready.
Here we go.
Bring it on.
Best advice anyone's ever given you?
Stay true to yourself.
All right. Like it. Favorite mobile app?
You're gonna think I'm doing a total plug here. The security title app that's pretty awesome.
Jackie's gonna love you for that one.
I know she will. There's your plug, Jackie. You can pay me later.
That's a good one though. How about a book recommendation?
Oh, the devil. Outwitting the Devil, Napoleon Hill.
Oh, I never read that one yet.
That's a good book.
Okay.
All right. And let's see. We don't have a mask here to draw from, but do you have a question, Joey, or do you want me to ask something?
You can ask something. You didn't prepare
let me
me
ask
for
that.
that.
You didn't bring your
our mask.
I don't have the mask in front of me here. We can act like we are, I guess.
This is beautiful. What is that, COVID?
All right, so here we go. So when everything calms down a bit, right, and things get back, people are traveling again and all that.
Yeah.
Do you have a favorite place you want to go vacation?
Maui.
All right.
Yeah.
All right. Been there before?
Although I have. It's my absolute favorite place. Although I will say I did travel on Monday. We did a wine tour to some of the Arizona wineries. And I have to put a shout out there to DA Ranch, Dancing Apache Ranch. It's a vineyard right there in Verde Valley. It is stunning.
Really?
And if you haven't been there, you need to put it on your bucket list.
What's the name of it?
It's called DA Ranch, Dancing Apache Ranch.
DA Ranch. I'm writing that down now because my wife loves wine. So
it is pretty awesome. So the tour we did is called Zona Tours.
Mm-hmm.
And they pick you up in one of the big limousines, the big van limousines, and drive you out there. Now, I will say, don't do it on a Sunday. We learned the hard way. Because coming back into town with the traffic.
Yeah, I can see that. Yeah.
So
where is this DA Ranch at?
It's right there in Verde Valley.
Oh, Verde Valley. Okay.
Yeah, just outside of Sedona.
Got it.
So it took us 5 hours to get back.
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay.
It was bad. And
no
if
Sundays.
you've done that trip, there's not a whole lot of bathrooms on the way back. So, yeah. Don't do a Sunday.
Yeah.
Unless you're going to stay
Noted.
there.
Don't go on Sunday, and don't get there on with an empty stomach.
Yeah. Fabulous place to go. Yeah.
All right. Well, thank you so much for sharing, and thanks for joining us today.
Yeah.
Thanks, guys. That was fun.
Really appreciate all that all the insight you gave us with all the psychology stuff. Now I feel even better about.
Yeah, you weren't as talkative, Jeff. What's up?
I'll send you the bill.
Oh, you were more talkative this time, so that was good. I didn't want to say the wrong thing.
But thanks,
tell you
guys,
how
for
I
the
feel?
opportunity.
No, just.
But yeah, I'm headed out to an inspection. So.
All right. Oh, that's right. You need to get going, huh?
Oh, that's right. Yeah.
Well, I hope that it goes well.
Thank you.
So, and we'll make sure to give a shout out to Jackie Whitney again and tell her thank you for bringing you on. Yep. So,
thanks,
all right.
Jackie.
Well, thanks, Jacquelyn. And until next time, agents, we will see you later. Adios.
See ya.